Yes, now, and welcome back to episode number 167 of the Top Loaded podcast. And there's a lot of big talking points this week. But first of all, a massive thanks for the guys over at Third Down UK for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded podcast. Whether you need card supplies, custom card stands, great preparation kits, or whatever you require, head over to their website, check the link in the bio, head to their shop, and use the code TTP10 at checkout to save 10% off your full order. And like I was saying, there's quite a few big talking points, whether it's PSA, tops, influencers, whatever it may be. However, PSA might be the big news, but I want to go in to talk about influencers. Some things will have happened. 99% of it good, obviously 1% bad. It's always going to happen. So we've got to talk about the elephant in the room first of all. Obviously, the incident that did occur in the Angry Gin stream, where he was obviously opening up the new Tops Premier League, hit a Pascal Stroik full threat of 1-of-1 and ripped it in half. Obviously laughing and joking with his chat, and then obviously people realised he just ripped up a 1-of-1 and then started to mention it in chat. Obviously, Tops are getting part of the blame, and I actually do partly blame them, but not really, because you're getting all these new people enter the hobby, and it's good. They're trying to raise the brand awareness. They're trying to get more people involved within the UK. And I think obviously that is a big factor of it. That Cal Freezy, Zerka, Mini Minter, Bazinga, as you say, Angry Ginge, just to name a few. There's still lots more as well. I think Matt HD Gamer is now on whatnot as well. Bateson in the past, I've seen a lot of card stuff rated from obviously going to like Castro in America. A lot of people are going into cards now, and we see it a lot. I've personally been a Sidemen fan since day one, and all of them are getting involved into cards now, which is great to see. It's nice to see like crossover into something that I'm passionate about, and now they've become passionate, and hopefully opens the door to meeting some of them in the future, which would be really cool. But it's great for Tops to be. Obviously, they're not providing everything, but they're providing some boxes. But one of the main reasons why I started this podcast 167 episodes ago was education. And don't get me wrong, all the rest have been absolutely fine. This is the only incident that's really happened. There's been a few incidents on whatnot with like prices going high, but it's got to be down to education as well. Obviously, I think everyone knows the biggest name in the content creation world for cards in this country in terms of in that Sidemen realm of possibilities as well is Randolph. Obviously built Pokey Rand, done a fantastic job there. But education is so key for these people coming in, because we're seeing it now. Obviously, they've got the money to spend and they've got the audiences to attract new people, which is absolutely fantastic to see. However, ripping a 1-of-1 is inexcusable. Don't matter if you've been in the hobby for 100 years, you've been in it for 5 seconds. You should know not to rip a 1-of-1. I know he was like, after like a minute or two, he was, I could have given that to Mini Minter. Still, though, you shouldn't be ripping a 1-of-1. Even a base card, you can get away with ripping a paper base card. Like, I think all of us have thrown away at least one base card in our life. But all the parallels, someone out there would want that card. And like I say, I'm a firm believer of most of the time you only learn in life when something happens. And now he's learned, he knows not to do it again in the future. You'd hope he knows not to do it in the future. But going off that, it's great to see. It's funny. For people who don't know Cal Freezy, he has a podcast as well. It's my inspiration for this podcast. It's called the Fellas Podcast. Fantastic podcast. And obviously now he's got Cal's Collects on YouTube. Bazinga's got his one, Zerka, and all these. Watching them opening boxes is great. That's what I love on YouTube. Obviously, got the likes of Card Collector 2. For me, my personal favourite is Pac-Man, but obviously, you got Troy, for example, in America. You've got Mojo as well. I see more card accounts pop up in the UK. And don't get me wrong, we've got some fantastic ones over here, whether it's Jojo JMS, Dan, obviously, Sports Cards UK, El Toro, LGL, GBW, whoever is putting out the content. It's been great. Obviously, our good friend, Real Harry's World as well, has been putting out a lot of content. And I think that's another thing that's really starting to come prominent in the UK, and I'm all for it, is people taking more interest in content. I personally, on the TikTok side of things, for the women's side of the game, obviously there's not as much to do in terms of the women's game in comparison to like the men's side of it, but I'm a firm believer of every single person who enters this hobby, whether it's to escape from reality, to collect, to buy, sell, trade, make money, whatever it is, you will find a passion within this hobby. Whether, like I say, card shows are some people's passions, podcast is my passion, content like raising the women's game, education, whatever it may be, you will find something in the hobby that really draws you in and makes you want to invest time and effort into going after and going out your way. It's at the end of the day, for most people, this hobby is a hobby, and you're giving up your own time, and you don't want to be doing something that you're like, oh, I don't really care. Why am I going to do that? Because then there's no point. 'Cause it's not a hobby anymore, and it's a chore. Um, I sit in an office from 9 to 6 every day. That's a chore most days in comparison to I come home and then I escape by, so for example, picking up this card and having a look at it. So it's good to see that it struck a chord with these bigger collectors. Obviously, we had Sidemen Chrome because a few of them were collecting, but obviously now more prominent now. I think quite a few of them were into Pokemon beforehand, but now going into sports. So that's great to see. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, I know sadly I missed Simon and Josh at the last London Card Show. Hopefully, I can beat him because I think it's two of my favourite YouTubers. It would just be nice to talk to them in the capacity of fellow collector to collector. But it's important to know that yes, these are great for us, getting more eyes on the hobby, more people into the hobby, more people buying in. However, education is still king in the hobby. Sadly, in one of the streams, there was someone selling slabs, and I think it was a Erling Haaland to 125 Ace 8, and I think it went for like 120 quid. It's probably like a 20 quid card. 10 quid card, 10, 15 quid card. But like I say, education is key. It's a massive part of the hobby. And I think to give them credit for it, the Fanatic store at Regent Street, it has a very good section in there about education for people who are joining the hobby. And I've got to admit, I was in there last time with a few of the guys and I was looking at it in detail. And I actually thought it was very impressive. I think they've done a very good job at it. And it's more a case of, I think Tops have really got to spend some more time. I know they've done it with a partnership with GBW at the National, but education is so key of where we are in this hobby at the moment that they've got to keep educating because every day there's new people joining. And it can be a very scary, very temperamental place, but it's also a very dangerous place as well that you can easily get sucked in and lose a lot of money quick on stuff you don't need. And I think everyone's done it at the beginning, whether it was buying into breaks, buying certain cards. You realize that these cards are not worth what I paid for it, and I've already lost on it. So it's important that Tops, Panini, whoever it may be, I've always been a firm believer on here as well, that education is key. And there's never a stupid question in the hobby as well. That's something I'm a firm believer of. I will answer any question anyone asks me because I probably had the exactly same question and I didn't know who to ask at one point as well. So that's moving slightly on from obviously the creative thing. I've personally been enjoying a lot of their content. Moving on now to PSA. And there's some good and there's some bad. And I was going to say some ugly, but that's just the old phrase. It's not really equivalent to PSA because I haven't got none of my returns back to be the ugly part at the moment. But good news to start with. It's always nice to have a bit of good news first, isn't it? PSA have now confirmed they are opening their first European grading facility in Europe. Obviously, if it's in Europe, it's going to be European. Sadly for us, it's not obviously in the UK. So Brexit means Brexit. That's going to affect our import charges. So the location has been chosen as one of my favorite countries in the Europe. Germany will be the host of the first PSA grading facility in Europe, which is fantastic news. However, before we get too excited, everyone, it's going to be expensive because we're still going to have big import fees and stuff like that. However, there will be ways around it, which people will know in terms of shipping addresses and stuff like that. However, I don't mind a few days in Germany. So, I don't mind taking my cards over there and then shipping them out and potentially then go out there again for another couple of days and getting them back. So that's good news. It definitely opens the possibility of down the line potential shorter grading wait times, because I'm going to get onto that in a minute. But also being in Europe shows that now PSA are committed and know how big the hobby is growing within Europe. And there's no doubt in England, France, Germany, Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, Italy, all these places now having card shows. So there is a demand across Europe for this. And that's what makes it even sweeter that they're recognizing this. And it's a step in definitely the right direction. Started with them sponsoring the London Card Show, moving on to actually taking submissions at the London Card Show to now opening facility in Germany. However, the bad news when it comes to PSA, and there's always going to be some good with the bad, they are raising prices, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, they're raising prices as well as wait times because they're experiencing such a demand for grading at the moment that they said, look, we can't keep to the relevant expected timetable at the moment. We are pushing services back. So even the quickest services are 5-day working days are now 10 days. I believe value bulk, some people are reporting is taking 5 to 6 months as well. So yes, prices are going up, and I think they come into play this Friday, I do believe. And wait times are up. So if you are grading with PSA, do be aware that it will take longer and it will be more expensive. They did take similar measures to this around the COVID time when it did actually start getting a lot more common grading, and they done it so they could increase prices to slowly bring it back down, and it was working quite efficiently at one point, PSA, but sadly it's slowed off a bit now, but that's fine. So just be aware, anyone out there who is thinking about submitting cards, stickers, whatever it may be, there is an extended wait now to get your items back from PSA. So I'm a bit cautious at the moment in terms of sending stuff. Do I want like I've got a few examples here. I've got a couple of nice Beth Meads right here that I was going to send to PSA. However, if I said to you, and this is quite an interesting thing for whoever's listening to think about this as I say it, would you rather have a raw card in your collection that you can look at any point, or would you rather a PSA card that's going to take 5 months? And I'm not the best person. I'm quite impatient, especially when it's a high ticket item. Looking here, for example, when I sent off like this, for example, the Red Sapphire, Stina Black Stenius. When I sent that off, I was like checking it all the time. I don't really like having such a big item not in house and being off somewhere else, not knowing the location of it, the updates, anything like that. So I am probably going to hold fire for a considerable future. Probably famous last words. I'll probably 3 episodes time probably say, oh, I've done a PSA stuff. But for the moment, I'm not grading anything at all. That goes for Beckett, SGC. I'll just staying clear of grading for the moment. Of what I was going to spend on grading, I'm just keeping it. Make it nice and easy. So yeah, let me know out there. What do you think? Do you think you're going to still be grading with the extended wait times? Because the aspect of people getting cards graded to flip, if you've got to wait 4 or 5 months on the higher tiers, it really takes away the factor of making that quick quid, because you don't know what can happen in 4 or 5 months. By the time you get the item back, the set's already dying off. So it's quite an intriguing one to actually think about and to now have that opinion of, do I get it graded? Do I not get it graded? So yeah, is it worth grading? Obviously, that's up to you. Something else I've wanted to talk about for a long time is obviously other sets as well. We're not just talking football anymore on here. And for people out there who like watching a good box opening, I would heavily recommend you watching any of the high-end NBA products that are currently being released. Because for people who don't know, Topps do have the license very, very soon for the NBA. In fact, it's next season's license. So Panini are now rushing out the door all of the old sets for last season. And I can tell you something, the sets are incredible. Obviously, Flawless is one of the best boxes you can buy out there. But they have an abundance of match-worn jerseys that they have to use in the next 2 sets. Otherwise, they can't do anything with it and probably just have to sell them. So you're seeing some crazy sets out there. I was watching Pac-Man's video the other day, and for people you might not care about NBA. If you do, fair enough. But for context, there's this absolutely beautiful quad match worn. Sorry, not auto, just quad memorabilia card, and it was featuring 4 of the best players in the NBA at the moment. Excuse me. You have players of Shea Gilgeous Alexander, the reigning Finals MVP. Jason Tatum, former NBA champion. Luka Doncic is now obviously the main guy at the Lakers. And also their last name. See, this is why it's great. Knew what I was going to say. And as I was saying it, I forgot the 4th member on the card. And it will come to me at some point. But seeing some of these cards, we're talking match worn Steph Curry finals jerseys, LeBron, Cavs stuff, Miami Heat stuff, and it's a shame. It's a shame to see because part of me saying the same with the Premier League. Of Panini has been a stalwart for collectors, and it's put a lot of collectors. They only know Panini for NFL and obviously a lot of these the Premier League license 10 years ago was tops. The NBA license about 20 years ago was tops. The NFL license, similar, 10 years ago was tops. But obviously, all of these are returning back to tops. And we know Panini, no more flawless, no more. Obviously, for soccer, it's not as much used flawless and stuff like that. Flawless, Prism. No matter what people say, oh, yes, but you get Chrome, you get Sapphire. People will miss Prism. They will miss Obsidian. They will miss National Treasures. They will miss sets like that. And it's a big shame that they've lost the license because now there's, in terms of the word monopoly, Topps have the monopoly in the card world. It's that simple. They have the monopoly. They're going to have the Premier League. They're going to have the Champions League. They're going to have UEFA European competitions. They're going to have the NBA. They're going to have the NFL. They've already got UFC. They've got boxing. They've got Disney. They've got all of these sets now that it's slowly coming to a point where you look at Panini and their licenses. They've got Live Golf. They've got the World Cup, which obviously is still a massive one. NASCAR. But you're really starting to struggle. Panini have, Topps have F1. Topps have all these different sets. So I'm very glass half empty at the moment in terms of what I like with Topps because I do like Topps. They're more accessible than Panini. Normally better prices on their boxes when they come out of retail before going up in price. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that is not as good. There'll be stuff which is better. Topps now is obviously going to have licensing, which would be unbelievable. But it's just a shame to see Panini kind of not fade away, but it's a great basketball pun, that one. But trying to start slowly merging into the background and becoming less of a prominent aspect within our hobby because they are legendary. The Panini logo is class, but it is what it is at the end of the day. We're looking forward to the new era of Topps. I can't wait for basketball to go to Topps personally because I'm not going to really start collecting, but I'm really getting in. I'm massive into basketball. More actually the European side, which is Panini, funny enough. But the NBA going to Topps will be sensational and that'd be really fun to watch. Another release, which is famously actually out today, which is Disney Chrome yet again. It's not the greatest looking Disney Chrome. I believe that they went on EQL for the Regent Street store at £370 a box, which is crazy. However, this Disney Chrome does feature actual actors and voice actors autographs rather than crappy autographs. No disrespect to Buzz and Woody, but they're not signed that card. That's just some geezer in an office who signed his tablet and then put it on the card. So now having Tom Hanks sign a Woody one-of-one Superfractor, you've got Samuel L. Jackson autos. You've got so many good art, like actual voice actors and stuff that it works and it's going to be quite cool to watch. I believe it's meant to be one or more autos per case. So one auto per 12 boxes. I'm very intrigued to see Disney. Personally, people are going to probably call me a Muppet, but I grew up watching the Muppets quite a lot. Um, Always had a tie with the Muppets, and now Miss Piggy, um, Kermit, and Animal are featured in the set. So I probably will be buying some of them just because I really like the Muppets. So that's going to be quite a fun side PC, side quest, so to speak. Um, that I'm actually looking quite forward to that. We've now started to see a lot more of the Panini boxes get opened. Everything numbered 150 or less, 3 autos or relics per box. Um, for me personally, I'm just not interested because it's not what I collect. But for collectors, it looks fantastic, and I can understand why people are buying a lot of them. I expect to see quite a few people ripping it at the event tomorrow night, which I'm attending, which I will get onto in a bit. But also, something that we've seen a lot more this week, which has been great, is players putting out they are signing Panini stickers for in the EFL sets. Yes, the EFL sets are hopefully not too far away. I've heard murmurings of January to February, March area next year, but that means I've seen Championship. Is it just Championship? Championship at the moment signing, which is good. So that means there's autos. Um, Interesting what kind of set they go with. Do they go with like a Lioness Eternity or do they go for like a Prism? That's going to be really. I think that's going to be one of the coolest sets when it releases. Obviously, our good friend of the podcast, GBW, will be spending a lot of money on the QPR cards. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that launch next year. But obviously, I just referred to an event that I will be attending tomorrow, which is Thursday. Um, the London Card Show Trade Night in partnership with Fanatic Store, Regent Street. Ended the ballot, lucky enough, got my confirmation last week. So I'll be heading down there tomorrow. So whoever, let me know out there who's heading along. Who am I going to be sharing? Share a drink or a bit of food with. I look forward just to an evening catching up with people, hopefully getting some deals done. But most importantly, just talking with fellow collectors as well. I can't wait for that one. Massive congratulations to Harry, James, and Katie and the team for getting that partnership monthly trade nights at the Fanatic Store on Regent Street, which I hopefully we've seen people there every month. And there's a good pub around the corner, which no doubt I will be venturing into afterwards. But just to close out, I've had a few questions about why is your PC changing? What are you really enjoying collecting at the moment? And I think it was a great question because I've been talking about it a lot recently. That I'll just you got to find what you love to collect, and then my one I could arguably say I'm probably one of the only people in the world to have my PC, and that's quite cool. So for people who don't know, the NBA is not the only basketball league in the world. Europe is a very big home of basketball, and especially that the Super League basketball, which is the British League. My team, my local team, London Lions, is one of my PCs. And before you go, I didn't know British basketball have cards. They don't. However, the very fortunate thing about London Lions is they have American athletes play for their team. So, for example, Sam Decker, who was once a first round draft pick, played for London Lions for a couple of seasons a couple of years ago. So, I've got quite a few of his cards. But obviously, our new intake of players, McGusty, for example, who played for Miami, University of Miami, has cards, and I've been buying quite a few of them. Jonathan Williams, for NBA nerds out there like myself, who are especially Lakers fans, was drafted to the Lakers, has one card, which is status, but he now plays for London Lions. So perfect. On the card, got that one. Lovely. And it's just nice to have a PC that's very niche. I'm going to start collecting, trying to get match worn jerseys as well, stuff like that. So that's what I'm really investing some time and effort into. Obviously, it's not much of it, so don't take up too much time, which is fantastic. But on the other hand, it's for me, it's still continuing the women's PC, but not. I've been trying to say to a few people, for me now, it's not just collecting women's cards. It's trying to grow the awareness and the knowledge of women's cards as well, whether it's through TikTok, this podcast, Instagram, whatever it may be, Discord as well. There is a great hobby brewing for the women's collectors. There's a lot more people joining. It's a fantastic place to be. I've met quite a lot of good people in there. And the good thing as well is, yes, we do have quite a lot of women's collectors that are getting into cards. And for the best thing as well out there, which I think people will be quite shocked about, prices do very well as well because we don't get many sets. You see, we don't get many sets. For context, last year's Chrome for last year's Champions League hasn't even arrived yet. Hasn't even come out yet. Hasn't even been speculated yet. Hasn't even been previewed yet. Hasn't even been announced yet. Will we get it? We don't know. So hopefully we still get that. But yeah, no, the hobby's it's in a good place at the moment. Quite a few car shows coming up in the near distant future as well, which obviously I will be attending. Some of them I'm going to try and get to some more. But yeah, I hope everyone out there is doing well, staying safe. For anyone who is heading down to the London Car Show Trade Night tomorrow night, Green Street, drop me a message on RP Trading Cards. Look forward to see you there. Just grab a conversation, see what you've been buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, I hope everyone out there is doing well, staying safe. A massive thanks yet again to the guys over at Third Down UK for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. Whether you need card supplies, custom card stands, grade preparation kits, or whatever needs you have in the hobby, head over to their Instagram, check out the link in my bio. Also, head over to their website or check out their store and use the code TTP10. That is TTP10 at checkout to save 10% off. But like we say, a massive thanks for every single person listening or joining along or whatever you may be doing. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. And my closing message is, as well, if you ever want someone to reach out to, no matter whatever it is, if you just want someone to talk to, get something off the chest, my DMs are always open. So I think it's becoming a lot more talk about subject in the UK. But I want to always echo this as well in the card world. No matter what you're going through, there's someone out there for you. So if you ever do need help or anything, or you just want someone to talk to, message me, DM me. If you want to keep it anonymous, or I will keep everything obviously of true anonymity. So make sure you do message. But I'll just say, no matter what people are going through, if you want to reach out, please do. It's such a good talking point, mental health. And I'm going to try and do a mental health special soon in a way of trying to get someone on to talk about it as well. But a massive thanks yet again for everyone listening. And a massive thanks yet again for everyone who keeps the podcast living on. And there's some good interviews coming up in the not too distant future. But a massive thank you yet again for everyone. Hope everyone out there is buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.